Okay, I'm recording.
Let me know when I've got the floor.
Yep, we can hear you right now.
Okay, all right, guys. I just got back last week and spent a few days with Philadelphia American, a new era, and what actually happened, one of the main reasons we went down there is Philadelphia American, all the home office kept hearing, they've kept hearing about Cypress, and they really didn't understand it. Obviously, Dr. Chen's familiar with it, and Mary, but all the hierarchy, all the head office people in each department really didn't understand the value of this program. And obviously getting involved with us on the list bill, and I understand Philadelphia American is an individual policy, so they're used to dealing with individual sales, and they're really not set up and designed for groups. And that's one of the great things about this program. It's a hybrid. It's not a group. Groups don't pay any money. Groups are cookie cutter. And groups have huge disadvantages to them. You don't have the portability. You have the huge rates, rate increases, and the loads and all that stuff. So this being an individual product, it was more of a hybrid. Having the best of both worlds is different. And so Philadelphia American, all the different departments really, they keep hearing about Cypress, didn't understand it, really what it was about. So Doc had invited us to come down and speak to the group. So we took Josh Stubblefield down. He did an outstanding job, and Larry and I went down, and we met with, I think we had about 20, 25 people around the table at the meeting. All the different departments came in. And obviously the head people and the list and the billing department and everything. And I stood up and introduced Josh and talked about Cypress, and Josh went through the entire Cypress program. And when that meeting was over, I'm telling you, they used to treat us totally different. They came, Nell the maid, the head gal running all the service, the admin department, all of them met with us. And all said, Doug, we understand now what you guys are doing. This is huge for us. And obviously, the example was one of the things we've learned by doing these groups is we've had some issues with the rate increases going out. Well, rate increases are only $2, $3, $4, $5. But when you send a rate increase to an individual client, what they do is just say your new premium is $350, and they didn't say what the old premium was. And when they're talking to an individual, he knows what he's paying. He's paying $300, they go to $306. He knows that. But when you send that out to 100 employees that are with the Cypress who aren't paying anything, and they get a bill in the mail saying your new premium is $350. Starting next month, and they think they got a $350 rate increase, and they start freaking out. So these are things that we had to say, so we had to go back and say, you can't send this letter out to these groups because they're not paying for anything. They just get $300 new premium of $300. You have to put the old premium and the new premium and the amount it went up. And we've done that now, and even Nelson King said, we need to do more in these situations than even this. So they understand that gap that we have with people not understanding what we're really doing and how we're doing it and why we're doing it. There's a gap there, and so that was a huge meeting, and just the guys are very excited. Not only that, but Dr. Chen is looking at taking on all the live and putting it on the e-app for the Cypress, and Cypress is considering bringing all of their business, Cat 1 or Cat 2, as well, over to Philadelphia American. And so it's a great meeting, and we believe with all the challenges in the market and all the changes that this TAL Cypress, high-end indemnity Cypress, is the future of healthcare for the next several years. And to be able to move these individual products, bundles at a time, and with the tax savings and pay for with the tax savings, which you guys know increases our government subsidies if they go that route, or if they have to pay a penalty, it's a low under penalty. So I think that's been something that's very, very important, that we get Philadelphia American more knowledgeable and all the people inside the home office on exactly what we're doing with this Cypress program. You know, we just got a letter last week. You know, as you guys know, we moved into the Cypress home headquarters, and just got a letter from Barry and Bob and everybody. We had our best month ever last month, and we actually, just so you guys know, we're subletting some offices inside that they have about 4,000 square feet, and we're subletting some office space inside there, which has been huge because, Toby, as you know, our office here with National Group is right down the corner, right down the hallway from Dave the Dentist with Philadelphia American. That's no accident, and that's been huge having those guys right next door on any issues we have on individual sales or the list bill sales. We moved in with Cypress and subletting offices in their big headquarters, national headquarters, and that's been huge because that's really strengthened our relationship with them, and having them right there to help us with payroll calls and have them, you know, being right there on the spot. So that's no accident. So it's been very, very big, very good, making it a lot more cohesive. And Cypress, we're the number one agency, and matter of fact, they waived our office rent because we did so well last month. Record-breaking month, and we're just getting started. So this relationship with Cypress has been huge, and Philadelphia American is getting involved now. They're getting on the bandwagon. Now all the home office is very familiar with how the program works and why we do what we do, why the list bills have to be a certain way, why the enrollments have to be a certain way, and now that you've got the home office involved and understanding what we're doing, then things are going a lot more cohesive and everything. So, guys, it's just, it's the most exciting thing in the 25 years I've been in the business I've ever seen. In the 25 years I've been in this business, and anybody, Toby, you know this, every now and then, just every now and then, something special comes along that makes you different than everybody else, that makes you different than the other agents that walk in the door. And it just happens every now and then, guys. It's kind of like a relationship. Every now and then you have a relationship with a certain person that's special. And this is that way of business. So this is that very special opportunity. And you know it when you see it. And it's happening. And it's taken us a couple of years to work some kinks out, smooth some things over, and put the pieces in place. And Larry and I have done that, Toby, and you guys have been help us do all that. So this is going to be a huge year with Philadelphia American and Cypress, but only for the people who understand that this is one of those special deals, and only for the people who pony up and buy in and learn it and jump in and say, I'm going to be a part of this, and I'm going to learn this, really, really learn it, and really do. It's a way to move huge amounts of business in a short amount of time and get individual commissions, and it's a way to save companies from going out of business, a way to show people how to get their people insured without it costing them any money. God, it doesn't get any better than that. How could it? You know? So, yeah, we're real excited. Things are really, couldn't be going better, you know? And Philadelphia American's very excited. They're working right now as we speak to try to bring on that life over here. So right now, when we go out and do enrollments, Toby, you know this, of any size, we have to send, or Cypress has to send their people out, which we really don't need them out there, to help with the enrollments, and that costs them a lot of money. When you got 3 list bills going out, and one of the list bills is 60 days, which was the first bill against, which is the American General, and the other 2 are 30 days, so you got 3 list bills coming in, 2 different enrollment teams. You know, that's more moving parts. And when you eliminate one of the enrollment teams, and you can add and eliminate one list bill and actually add the life to the EAP, which is what we're trying to accomplish, you know, then again, it just makes a great thing even better. So just like the Philadelphia American started out 4 years ago with $1,000 a day benefit, $2,000 and $3,000, now it's what, 2, 4, and 6. And now we have $500 deductible 4 years ago with the Health Saver 1. Now we're just Health Saver 3, and the outpatient deductible is not $500 like it used to be. It's $50. And so when you see a product 4 years ago that's gone up a total of 14% in 4 years, that's 3% a year, 3.25% a year, and the benefits are actually stronger, a lot stronger, with lower deductibles 4 years later. And even if you've gone up 14% 4 years, you've doubled your benefits, guys, and you've lowered your deductible in outpatient from $500 down to $50. Then is that bang for your buck? You're paying 14% more. And by the way, that's retroactive. And I mean retroactive. Philadelphia American, when they increase those benefits, then they make that retroactive for your clients you wrote 4 years ago. So you talk about value proposition is what we're selling. It doesn't get any better than that. So you have to look at the track record of where it came from. Is the product getting better? Is the product getting worse? We know major medicals getting worse. They're getting more expensive, higher deductibles, more co-insurance, less benefits. And we don't have to talk about the Affordable Care Fraud. We know where that's headed. So this is a product that gets better and better and better and has more and more value for your clients. And then you come in with the Cypress for your groups of 5 to 500 and show them how to pay for it. You guys could not be in a better position as a professional in this industry. There's just no way. And I'm telling anybody, nobody can do what we do, and nobody has the products we have. So something to be excited about, guys. Anybody have any questions or comments or concerns or anything?
He does this several hundred times a month, so.
No, I mean, I think all of us here are on exactly the same page. I mean, we feel exactly the same way, so I know I do.
Well, we look at carriers, we look at products, and that's why I'm so committed to Philadelphia American. There are other indemnity products out there that they're frankly not as good as Philadelphia American, and you can get a few more points somewhere else selling a lesser product, but you don't want to do that. You don't want to sell a lesser product to your clients for a few more points. And so all things considered, we know that that's why Philadelphia American or Cypress is wanting to have Dr. Chin look at the American General. Cypress, guys, has been the #1 agency for American General, which is one of the largest life carriers in the entire country. They've been the #1 carrier for them for the last 2 years running. And $300 million with the company, that's a lot of business. And for them to consider bringing all that business over to Dr. Chin and Philadelphia American says a lot about Philadelphia American. And for us to be their top agency says a lot about us. But it's a matter of focus, and a matter of, we've got something Cypress doesn't have, and that's Philadelphia American. Cypress has been out here selling guaranteed issue products with Allstate or whoever, and now that we're in the office with Cypress, it's really made a world of difference on getting things done, enrollment-wise and velocity-wise and future vision-wise. I look at Bob Thomas, the attorney, and I say, Bob, why do you go sell a guaranteed issue product to healthy people? You just irritate them, piss them off. Why don't you sell Philadelphia American? It's 3 times the benefits, So we're merging these two carriers together with the formulas that make us, the agent, stand out completely different than anybody in the country. Nobody in the country has what we have. Nobody. And nobody from an agent level has an opportunity in the health industry that we have, to educate clients to get their health care costs under control, and then show them how to pay for it with the Cypress. Just nobody can do that. And so we have to just continually finding ways to market it better. One of the things we've learned is to streamline, and Toby and I talked about this, streamline the marketing material. So much exciting things to talk about. We all have tended to talk way too much and show way too much, and for the guys seeing it for the first time is a lot to digest. So we've learned, we wrote a group last week. I sold it, never even brought out side by side. They've never seen side by side of this day. You know, and so finding ways, and the more referrals we get, again, is even better and better. So we know that any intellectual property, I'll just use Critical Illness is probably one of the hottest products in the country, and number one selling product in Canada for years. Critical Illness came out in Canada before it came out in the United States. And when it was an intellectual property, a thought, for it to actually take hold and explode, intellectual properties take about 5 to 7 years generally, regardless how awesome they are, to take hold and grow and explode. And that's what happened with Critical Illness. It took about 5 to 7 years in Canada. Now it's huge in the States too. And so when you look at this, it's kind of like an intellectual property, and it's going to take a few years to take hold. But once it takes hold, it's like a snowball heading downhill. And the guys on the front end of that, the experts and the guys that have that front end of that, the agencies and the agents, are the ones that are going to reap all the benefits from that, make all the money, you know, and that's us. So, yeah, couldn't be more excited. I know there's a lot of options, a lot of opportunities out there, but just sit back and look at all your opportunities with all the cares and tell me and show me one that's better. There's not any way close, you know. And so we're excited. We just need to continue growing. And we've got guys flying in from Arizona that are going to look at this product, and you know, we're trying not to grow too fast, and we don't want to, but we want to grow it. So yeah, you guys just get better and better at it more, and it's challenging. You have to learn how to get payroll set up and their teams, and again, we're getting better and better. Now that we're in there with Cypress, that's been huge for us, and now that Philadelphia American is understanding Cypress, now that's huge for Philadelphia American, because now they can work with us on these enrollments and what we need to make things go better. It's just like I told them when I stood up to introduce Josh, I said, we moved in with Cypress, and I said, we do what we do, Cypress does what they do, and we work together with Josh Cypress to make sure all our stuff gets done. And that's what we've got to do, and there's no egos, there's no, you know, if we don't get our Philadelphia American issued, and Cypress is instrumental in that, with the payroll setups or whatever it takes, and then if we don't get the life issued and handled, and billing and everything handled, then Cypress doesn't do well, which affects us. So the more we join together and work as a team, then everybody wins. And that's really, really happened big time now that we've got Cypress involved with Philadelphia American, and we've moved into their home offices here. And it's been a world of difference, you know, so.
Well, Doug, thank you for taking the time to talk to us here. We're going to go through kind of some presentation stuff on the group and kind of talk through group a little bit. And if you're in town later this week, you might stop in and say hello.
I will, guys. Look forward to meeting with everybody and good selling. And if you need us, we're here. All right, guys. Thanks.
Thanks, sir. Okay.
So Ryan, who's that again?
That's Doug. Doug is the national marketer for Philadelphia
Oh,
American.
wow. Okay. Okay. I wasn't sure what company he was with.
Yeah. He when you see NGM Pro, he's NGM Pro.
Okay.
Yeah. For
so is it he has a consulting firm that works with Philadelphia
American. He actually he mentioned Larry. He and Larry actually put this together. So they married Powell with Cypress, and it's been
amazing,
unbelievable.
Oh, it is very unique. I mean, I've never heard of anything like this.
Cypress was already doing this,
yeah,
but they were doing it with, subpar products.
Right.
So just to be honest about it, and most guaranteed issue products are not. They're not meant to be great products. They're meant to be guaranteed issue.
Yeah.
And
in this case, they're not even paying for it really anyway, and so it's like,
Well, the companies, of necessity are worried about adverse selection. They're worried about, because you're voluntary and so what you're going to get is people that are sick and can't buy anywhere else, right?
Right.
So if you don't have an employer paid component, then, you're going to get, adverse selection. So with this, because the participation numbers rival those of, actuarially it's insignificant between the difference 94 and 100%. That way it makes sense to the company to say we can give you guaranteed issue.
Well, when you have larger groups, it spreads the risk out.
Yeah.
So
One of the things he didn't say that we're real close to with PAL as well is getting rid of, we're guaranteed issue for an underwritten product, we get guaranteed issue through this process. We're actually getting close to no pre-X as well. And so,
no what?
No pre-X.
Pre-existing condition,
Yeah.
like exclusions?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, we're very close to that.
Wow.
The experience has been fantastic. The claims are underreported, which sounds terrible, but it's actually a really good thing for the supplementary company.
Huh.
Major Medical takes the brunt of it, and they take surgery, which is okay because across the large scheme of things, the vast majority of claims live in diagnostic, X-ray lab, outpatient, and prescription. So if Major Medical is bearing the brunt of that, it's great for PAL. What's really great about this is PAL's been involved with Cypress for 2 years now. Previous to that, we were using another third-party administrator to do this program, similar program, and we did not have near the efficiency. Not even close.
Well, it should be getting better and better. It's always going to be a little rocky.
It should be, but between it's the middle management that's the issue, right? So the president of the company, Dr. Chin, and Mary, the executive vice president, both knew the program, understood the program, loved it, gave us what we needed. Since Dr. Chin is an actuary, he can make those decisions himself. He doesn't have to go to anybody to talk about it. He just does it, So with middle management, though, they're considering, more heavily things like the paperwork and the process that's normal for how they do business, right?
Absolutely.
So when we pushed to get guaranteed issue, right, it was a huge deal for them, right? So we, because of our production and all this stuff, we were able to get guaranteed issue on list bill. Huge deal.
Explain that list bill.
So list bill is when you send a bill with a list of everybody on it.
Oh.
And so, I know it's
seems like that would
way
be
more
pretty
simple
obvious,
than that.
right?
But it's when you do individuals.
Okay.
So we have individual products. Instead of sending a group certificate for everybody.
And then everybody gets like you have a master certificate. And you
Right.
have,
So instead of doing that, you just have everybody has their own individual policy, and you get one bill with it. So with list bill, again, traditionally you have adverse selection or low participation either way, and so guaranteed issue, forget about it. It's not, Well, so we had you guys remember, I've told you this, just about everybody, the story about Tire Pros. Well, we had a Tire Pros only underwriting, and so when we left exclusivity with Tire Pros, then we said, okay, well, we're given guaranteed issue over here. Can we expand guaranteed issue? The first place they expanded it was in list bill, and so just regular business, nothing to do with 125. And so then we had the Tire Pros underwriting transition to Cypress underwriting, and now we have regular list bill underwriting. And so if you use the 125, you get more liberal underwriting, you get more products available, you get, and the participation's still significantly higher. To kind of give you an idea of what the pace is like, we're outpacing the biggest grossing agency with PAL last year through October was $2 million. With our national team, we're since October, it's over $1 million since October, right? So it's just,
You're outpacing that already.
oh
That's
yeah,
great.
it's amazing, right? So
They're loving us.
yeah, they're loving us, which is why they closed the company and have a meeting.
That's why you need to tell Sal. You need to tell Sal to get off his
Get off my
soapbox
back.
and get off your back.
Yeah.
Sal's an underwriter that we don't like.
Yeah. I hope this video never
Start
gets
calling
like
Sal.
Put it on
the
website.
No, this is only for
All the press. But things like that are going to happen where, you know, as those guys start to understand what happens, okay, well, you send in 100 apps at once. So
they're like, oh,
okay, all right. So, and they treat it like they normally do.
right.
We don't want them to do that. We want it to be,
Expedite the process, get it going,
Yeah.
let's get it done.
when they see our name on something, we want it to get special treatment,
Right.
right? Like,
Absolutely.
This is not your
If
regular.
we're bringing
deal.
them that much business, we should get special treatment.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Yeah. So.
Well, and it will now that after 2
Get
years
them on
of
the
them
phone,
doing
man. I'll come
this,
down there.
Yeah.
I'm shocked. I mean,
Yeah.
I think I'm sitting here shocked that they haven't had this
Well-
meeting with Powell before now, and that they didn't know
Insurance
what
companies
these list
take
bills are doing.
they take a long time to move, right?
Wow.
So, and you got to think about there's things that happens in fads too. So you wrote 750 apps, right? You know, so you may not do it again. You know, and,
Right.
You know, why would we change our process? You know,
Just for that.
and really it costs them so much money to make the smallest changes. So the business is there, and and not only is the business there, it's clean business.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. So they could basically go through and you have a year worth of business, and you don't really know for a while what your claims are going to be like. They might say after seeing claims, hey, actually, you can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
You know, so if it works out bad, you know, so it takes a while to kind of see what you're going to get. You know, but you know, it's. I'll steal this from Barry Goldwater, who said this last night. You know, this is one of the situations, kind of like a roll of toilet paper, where you know the farther you go in, you know, the faster it goes.
Yeah.
So it's kind of one of those situations where we're moving faster and faster, and the momentum is just kind of carrying us through. So and it's making things happen that you wish would have happened a while back, but couldn't and didn't. But I will say it helped to have Doug had the foresight to bring 2 people from Cyprus on the Europe trip, the Portugal trip with us, and so they got to know them. We had a presentation to the top producers in the company about the program in Europe, and then so some of the very top executive management have known about what it is, but it's the guys in the middle that make everything happen. They're the ones that create the forms. They're the ones that put stops on processes. They're the ones that issue the underwriting phone calls when something goes over, all this kind of stuff. So this is a really big deal, and I'm pretty fired up.
Yeah, man. I mean, it sounds like they're fired up. Which is like very encouraging for me, because if they've got that kind of momentum and energy and focus being put into it on their end, that's going to be big things for us, a year from now, 2 years from now. So I'm really excited.
The other thing I'm really excited about is Dr. Chin is considering adding life insurance to. You can do a life insurance product right now on the Easy app, but it's not, or on the E app, but it's not. It stops at 50,000. It's a term rider. Being able right now, we can go up to 250,000 on a universal life chassis, and and that's what we've got right now. So why would we take less? Well, Dr. Chin was one of the pioneer actuaries in creating universal life in the country. He was one of he's
that was
70.
the 80s, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's 74 years old. Plays tennis every day. And will kick your butt.
Shit, I can do that.
He played Doug, and Doug, this is not a joke, Doug was on pain meds the next day because he was like, he worked him into the ground.
Got faced by a 74-year-old man.
Yeah. And so
wow.
he pioneered Universal Life. And what you need in Universal Life, just as a side note, what you need in Universal Life in the first 7 years is 0 to very little claims, right? And so to make it work, or your mortality doesn't work, and then you have to go back in, adjust your mortality, and take it out of the cash value of the existing policies, and nobody likes that. Well, but if you can go in and get the younger population that you need for distribution, you can make it work, and you can do all kinds of wonderful stuff, right? Well, Cyprus right now is doing mega premium with AIG around the country. So consider how great the company is right now. It's rated one of the most actuarially sound companies in the country, right? You you take that and you add $200 million a year in premium for life insurance and the reserving that goes with that, what that's going to do to our health products. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So,
Well, yeah, that's going to allow them to do things that they wouldn't have been able to do before.
yeah.
Obviously, you know, it will improve the products
Yeah.
overall across the board. And so, yeah, I mean, that's only going to put more money in our pocket later on down the line. So,
And,
yeah,
and
that's great.
in terms of product, in terms of distribution,
Yeah,
they're already
the whole
getting
thing.
better and better and better in terms of product.
So they're on board with it. I mean, that's what
Oh,
it
yeah.
sounds like. They're committed to this thing. They're, you know, whatever it's going to take for them to get this thing running right, they're going to do it.
Absolutely. And we're running very well right now. It's just an issue of
sure. Tweak
streamline.
Yeah.
Streamline. And that's the thing about getting life on the e-app is we don't have to take any more paper apps.
Right.
And we will all be high-fiving. I mean, I'm telling you.
I know, right?
We will all be high-fiving.
Yes.
So,
Because then you can't miss anything.
So-
I
so-
mean, it will
exactly.
like leave it highlighted and
So-
not let you go on.
Yep.
You know, right now we're having to do these paper apps for the group process. If you say we're moving to where we'll be able to do the whole thing with electronic enrollment.
We're going to do that.
So
It's
I'll
gonna
have
get
a thing
there.
on my thing, they come in and talk to me and I can just fill the whole thing out right there,
That'd be
boom, boom, boom,
excellent.
done, and out the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because even a calculation of the life
Right.
thing will be right there. When you put in their birthday, it'll calculate.
It'll automatically.
But that'll be its own piece of standalone software that's separate from the individual.
It'll probably be the same.
part of
They'll
the
just
same.
make it work. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. That's what they did with dental. Is they just.
So you'll
made
just
it work
have like
with them.
in that there'll be just like a master thing that's like connecting it all back to the group somehow.
Well, the number, the list.
The number, right? But that somehow we'll be able to get that in there to where
Well, you don't see it, but right now we do that when we submit it. So
when you submit, I'm saying when we're doing the app, like normally, you know, with an individual, there'd be,
Oh, yeah, you
there's
would
no
put it
way
in.
to tie that to a group or something.
It
There'd have
is.
to be some way to do that.
there is when we submit it. You just don't submit it. So you would, of necessity, you would have to put in the group number in the beginning. And so it's.
But
in
that's
the
what I'm saying.
very
They're going to
beginning.
have to develop it to where we can do that. It can't just be like an exact copy of the individual.
That's what I'm saying. That's we use that right now to make submission. We use the e-app right now to make submission,
You
but
do.
we also have to do the life apps. So we take paper apps, get physical signatures, and then we make submission on the e-app.
Okay.
But if everything's going to be correct and we don't have to go to a bunch of different places to do paperwork, and we can turn the computer over for them to sign,
Right.
we don't have to do all that. So we just enter the
That's
list
just
of
like,
number.
I guess what I'm asking, I don't know, maybe not making myself clear here.
Can we use the same software? to do it?
How do they know, like if I've got 20 guys here and I'm submitting, how do they know they all belong to a group and not they're a bunch of 20 individuals?
So it's called a GBN number. It's it's a contingent guaranteed issue list bill number.
Okay, but where are you putting that?
In the very beginning of the software, open your
Here's
software.
this. I
That's
got
what I'm
it.
saying, I've never seen that.
I got it right.
Right here, where you say payment mode is monthly,
Uh-huh.
go ahead and switch it.
You see,
And-
you never have a reason to switch
And
this.
also,
No, no.
we're gonna have a different
Oh, look
agent
at
number
that.
too.
Right.
Tony
Right,
has
right.
an individual agent number,
So
and he
you'll-
has also his group agent number that he has to write under that number.
Right.
And then it's right here.
So switch it right there to monthly.
List
Yeah,
bill.
that's supposed to see, I've never done that, not
Right.
realizing.
And then you just start doing all of them.
Okay, okay. See, that's what I was asking. I was like, how do you put that in there? There's
So-
nowhere to put that in there.
Well,
They
because
approve.
right now, the only reason we're having them sign the critical illness and the PAL is just to have those signatures were us.
File, yeah.
But Lori inserts all those that we're doing already into here to get that to PAL.
So
She
it's
just
we're-
can't,
So
she
we've
can't
just
put
got
the
a lot
life
of
into
redundant
here.
data entry and things
Yes,
like that that really
but she
doesn't
can't
even
have
happen.
PAL, I mean,
Not
she
if-
can't have
Not
life
if
in
the
here
life
yet.
is on here.
Right, if we
Yeah.
had the life on there, what you're saying is we could do the whole thing in here and there would be no need to do all that paper stuff.
Exactly.
Huge.
Oh, that's huge, yeah, that's gonna streamline the process so much.
No need to. We don't have to do duplicate information.
Right.
You know, all that kind of stuff.
I mean, just think about the number of man hours at the end of the year that you total up for that. I mean, that's
Yeah.
a lot of money
It's
that
a
you're
ton.
saving.
Yeah, it really is.
That's crazy.
So that would be a big deal for us. Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah,
Lori would be
there
doing
will be a
backflips.
party that day.
Yeah.
I tell you.
I mean, and the other thing about it is, I mean, we want to make sure that because we do two things, so like, or a couple of things on the back end. Besides entering all that stuff, Lori creates a master data sheet with all the premiums, and we use that to turn into Cypress right now. All that stuff can be reports that are generated and sent back to us once we've entered it in.
Right, absolutely.
Send us back the premium report, send it to Cypress. We don't have to do that.
They'll generate a
Yeah.
spreadsheet.
I mean that
Right,
that frees
right.
us frees us up to do more prospecting, more sales, more
Yeah.
And so not only are you saving the man hours and that, but now you're generating more revenue too on top of it because you're more productive. And so, I mean, the benefit of that, I mean, the
That's
quantifiable
huge.
benefit of that is gigantic.
Well,
That's
even that
crazy.
spreadsheet she creates right now, we have to use to upload into AA, because we
Yeah.
have the business name in AA.
Right.
We don't have all the individual names
Right.
in AA, so I can upload those
Uh-huh.
in, but we have to have that spreadsheet. But eventually, they'll be generating that spreadsheet and giving it
I'm
to
just,
us.
I'm blown away. When's the when's the ETA on that?
Probably another 2 years.
Think so?
But no, I don't know. I mean, it's not going to happen overnight. And insurance companies are monoliths. I mean,
Sure.
they
Takes a while.
move slowly.
But still, I'm glad to know they're committed to that process and they're moving in that direction.
Yeah. I mean, it took them, to give you an idea, the creation of the GAP plan was about a 1.5-year process,
Wow.
right? Putting it on software was about a 6-month process. So,
Yeah.
it's,
Takes time.
yeah. And every time they make a change to the software, it costs them about $200,000.
least.
So, they,
You ever tried to program?
no.
Yeah, I took that in college, failed the first time. That's some tough stuff, buddy. Let me tell you, that's why they make $100,000 a year, those guys.
Yeah.
That's what my youngest brother does. He's ridiculous smart. Kind of smart that makes me feel dumb, which is pretty smart.
So I want to go through a couple of things. I mean, we're going to be here for a second. He ran to the bathroom.
Oh,
Very good.
Coffee's still hot, so go with it.
actually,
Let me take a break real quick.
I'm just gonna get some coffee real quick. Just be careful the cable running through there, Toby. Sure.
I'm not moving, I'm just.
Okay, Rick, Cypress, explain exactly what Cypress does and why it merged with
With that power.
PSP.
So Cypress is a third-party administrator, which is a fancy way to say paper pusher. And they administrate the cafeteria plan. So they will test it for payroll, they'll test the payroll for deferred compensation to make sure we don't create deferred compensation and to make sure the program does not favor highly compensated employees. And so, and they also take the liability, the tax liability of the program, which is a really key feature. Yeah, when people, this is, this is complicated, there's a lot of liability here. Great, we take it. You get a contract that says we take the liability for the program, and we test to make sure that it's right. So,
Okay.
yeah, so, that's kind of the role they play. But let's back up for a second and talk about employee benefits in general for just a second. Because really, you guys know we're full service. We handle everything related to employee benefits from the major medical health insurance, 401k, cafeteria plan, all sorts of voluntary worksite and triggered products. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what those products are, and when you hear them, kind of where they fall. And we talked a little bit about this the other day with you and Amanda. So inside a group, you have a few different things that you can put in place, right? So you have major medical, which is what you call a true group product. You get a master certificate or a group certificate, and everybody who is on that policy is under that certificate, right? So in true group products, you have a standard, and everybody gets that standard. It does not fluctuate. It does not change. You don't have different options within it. It is what it is, and everybody either has it or doesn't. And there's different levels of employer participation. Right? Generally, you need usually at least 25% of the premium would be contributed by an employer, depending on the product. In some cases, like in the case of disability insurance, so long-term disability, or even short-term disability, let's say that you had, or life insurance, let's say that you go in on a true group life insurance policy, and the employer purchases $25,000 of life insurance on every employee, right? And then when you meet with them, they have the ability to buy up maybe 2, 3, 5, 10 times their income, right? So all of that falls under the True Group certificate. And it really is all the same, even though they have options within it. They have a fixed amount of options, 2, 3, 5 times your income, whatever that is, and that's how it's derived. So it's still under that kind of blanket coverage certificate. So that's how True Group works. Under that, products you'd be looking at, really you can do just about anything under True Group, but the main ones you usually see are major medical, dental, short-term, long-term disability, so STD, LTD. And then sometimes you'll see a CI, you can do it, True Group. The what, say? Vision insurance is a True Group product. If there's you can do legal indemnification sometimes on True Group products as well. You don't see it very often, but especially in Oklahoma, because like prepaid legal doesn't fall under our insurance department. But in other states that it does, you can have True Group products. Am I missing anything? You could do gap coverage on a True Group chassis if you wanted to. And other indemnity products you could also do on a True Group chassis. So True Group blanket set for everybody. With small group under 50 now in major medical, sometimes you are able to use 2 different plans, right, from the same carrier. Right? So maybe you've got an HMO option, a PPO option, and that carrier will allow for these 2 different options.
So they just make that election when they do their open enrollment.
And so product by product, you want to become familiar with that specific carrier's policies on election. We just found out about Aetna allows you to change your dental every month back and forth between which network you want to be in. Yeah, it's a weird deal. On this day of the month, you can change. On the 15th of the month, you can change your dental from this dental to that dental. And so, anyway. So that's True Group. Worksite falls under the voluntary side, right? Worksite is a little different because you generally don't have employer participation, but you could, right? So it gives you flexibility. But these are individual products. If you have an employer, like a blanket employer contribution, it's still worksite, but generally what will happen is you might get a discount on rates, right? So based on how much the employers contribute. Because as the employer contributes more, adverse selection goes down, and the risk to the insurance company goes down, so they give you a break on rates.
Now, is that what we're doing, like with the Meadows? That's a different type of deal.
Totally correct. Ours falls under what's called voluntary.
Voluntary, okay.
And so voluntary is kind of last in this category. Worksite falls under voluntary, but it's really a different
Yeah, that's what I was
animal.
kind of confused.
Yeah, it's the same products.
What's the key difference? What's the thing?
Employer contribution.
Employer contribution, okay.
Under our products, there's no mechanism for employer contribution. Right. And so we don't want there to be. You know, the employer can make a contribution, but the way that happens is it goes in as a bonus, basically. Right. And so that's the way we max out the benefits and keep them level without changing our tax numbers. Right. And so under voluntary, there's no employer contribution. This is companies like Aflac, Colonial, Assurity, and a lot. You have a lot of different voluntary carriers out there. Great West was a voluntary carrier. They got basically shut down here. The smaller one, American Family Heritage, was a voluntary carrier. And so basically the idea is that you go in and you would generally be making an offering to the group, right? So that they have the ability to choose which products they wanted, right? Kind of like the City of Mustang is doing a survey right now to say, what do you want, right? And so generally what they'll do is take a survey like that and say, you have a suite of products, and so give us these options because our people want these options, right? So everybody may not buy everything, but they may buy one of this and one of that, or a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And benefit satisfaction goes up when people have the option to buy what they want, and they're not, even when you're paying for something that they don't want, it doesn't increase morale. It just, it's something they don't care about. Big issue with Generation Y, right, is they want what they want, and they could care less about what they don't want. You know, doesn't matter how hard you're trying to take care of them. Doesn't matter if you know better than them, right? This is a big deal. Like, you know, we went into T-Logic, and a younger population, right? You know, they paid 100% of the employees' benefits. And yeah, he said, yeah, it just seems like nobody cares about the major medical, you know, but they all get it because we pay 100% of it. Okay, right? So why not? Because they're not worried about getting super sick, right? They're worried about, you know, what if I get an accident? That's really the only thing that's going to happen. You know, great. Well, we got an accident policy. So, the world, and this is what I want to say about voluntary, the world is trending towards voluntary. Right? Because of Obamacare, what you're seeing is employers having to drop their major medical coverage because they can't afford it. They can't bear the cost of it. They don't have any mechanisms to make it cheaper. And they're worried about where it's going to go. Right? They're worried about having to report. They're worried about, you know, pushing their employees into a system they don't want to be in. And so you're seeing them drop it, right? And they have to offer it to employees that they wouldn't have offered it to before, right? So if you're a waiter, right, you make $2.13 an hour,
But you're full-time.
Then that employer has to extend coverage sheets.
Right,
So
so they can't discriminate.
can't discriminate. I went and talked to Swaddleys, and that was their biggest issue, was they had 60 people on their group insurance, and they were going to have to add another 250 people to their group insurance. And they're going, we can't
afford it.
We can't afford that. You know, we can't do that. So what do we do? What's the option? What do we have available? Right? So voluntary.
I mean, is that kind of where you're going here? Is that's the answer to that?
No, not that it's an answer to it, but that we're seeing companies like that just say, screw it, we're just not going to offer benefits. We can't afford to offer it to everybody. The government says we can't offer it to these people without offering it to everybody, so screw it, we just don't do it. So what do you do if you want to still attract and retain quality employees? Right? You gotta offer something. So I can offer them. I can go out and buy something for them that they may not want, or I can give them an offering. They can choose what they want. Right. So the world is moving in our direction. Right? It's a great, and it's been trending that way for a number of years. But it's good to be on the right side of the wave, you know what I mean? So, because of that, what you're seeing is more options in voluntary. Voluntary is getting very competitive in terms of product design, in terms of availability. More companies are coming into it, and so it's a great time to be in the voluntary business. With our program, obviously, what kind of sets us apart in voluntary is that we're able to provide coverage that is not free, but is at no cost. It's a paycheck neutral program, right? So I wanted to show you guys this, and I guess we'll have it on camera. And then also, I want to choose.
We're actually, I think what we're going to do is we're going to take your concept here. We're actually going to develop this into a very quick video.
Yeah.
To where it's repeatable, to where it's always the same every time you show it to the people. Boom! It's so simple, a kindergartner can understand it. We're going to take this and distill this down, and so we're recording so I can use this as references with all this stuff.
So let's assume that all of these white chips and the red chips here are an employee's pay. Right? This is their gross paycheck. The red chips represent the money they're going to pay in taxes. Right? So the whole thing is their gross pay, and of their gross pay, they're going to pay this amount in taxes. Okay? As an employer, you have a matching tax that you have to pay as well. So they pay taxes, you pay taxes. Right? And that's how everything works.
Way of the world.
Way of the world. If you insert a a cafeteria plan, what happens is we're able to exclude the amount of money that is being taxed. So instead of being taxed on all of this, maybe we're just taxed on this, right? Now, the reason we're able to exclude this income is because of Section 125. It allows us to pre-tax certain expenses, including premiums and medical expenses, from an employee's paycheck.
Yeah, and I really learned something a lot this morning about the delineation between premiums and the health expenses.
Yes.
So that's important.
It's very important. Section 125 allows us to pre-tax a lot of things. What we can't do is create a deferred compensation, and we can't favor highly compensated employees. Right? That's the two things we can't do. But health-related expenses and premiums we're able to exclude from taxation. So we do that, and then we pay taxes on what's left. Now the money hasn't gone anywhere; it's still in our check, but we're only being taxed on it. So now we're going to pay taxes. We're going to pay less in taxes, which means that the employer pays less in taxes. Right? Everybody still with me? We use Section 105, which allows for medical reimbursement. And we take this advanced benefit and we make their check whole again. And we have an increase in pay, right? Because this money that was going to taxes is still there. So we take this increase in pay, and the employee's going to want to know if they can use that for, can they take it home? The answer is no.
Can I go buy some Air Jordans with
Yeah,
that?
again, no Air Jordan.
Jordans. Okay.
You're going to take that money and you're going to spend it on premiums, right? And we've qualified
Health insurance, or qualified products.
products
Not health
under
insurance.
Section 125, right? So we purchase products to qualify the employee's check, and the employer is going to have a portion of their payroll tax savings that they pay to administrate the program. And the employee's check is whole. Taxes, Uncle Sam's happy because he got taxes. The employee got new benefits, and the employer, it has a net savings after the entire program is put in place. So as you can see, it's not a free program. It costs money, right? Uncle Sam gets paid, you still pay taxes, but the employee's check is whole, and we spend down to the level of their check, right? The employer is just saving, the payroll taxes associated with a lower taxable income.
Now I have an important question to ask, because this came up a couple times during the enrollment, and I'm pretty sure that we're telling them the right thing. But what they're concerned about is, okay, let's say I claim 2 on my taxes. Okay. Now, if you're pulling some of those taxes that I'd normally be paying to Uncle Sam back and putting into health insurance products, am I going to owe taxes now at the end of the year?
No.
Why?
And so, all right, so the first thing is, you don't create a situation where they owe taxes because they paid taxes, right? So the only time, if you're prepaying the government taxes, you're still going to be doing that, right? We're not affecting that. We're just changing the equation of how much you're going to prepay by, right? So the other question comes up.
But will they get less
Will they get
tax
less?
back on their refund check?
Right.
That's the real answer everybody's looking for.
Right, so that's a different question, right? So, and the answer is generally no, right? If you're at a higher income level and we move you a tax bracket, if we did it in either direction, we could affect your refund, right? But if you're under $50,000 or really $55,000 in pay, it's extremely unlikely. There's a bigger likelihood that we would qualify you for the earned income tax deduction.
Right.
And
Which would
so-
actually end up paying to your benefit. So.
Exactly.
And it was like, I wanted to be able to tell them all that. I knew that was the case, and
Right.
it was like, I don't know how to explain it to them.
Let's say that again.
So
It's very likely that we would be able to qualify you for the earned income.
earned
what?
income tax credit. So under $55,000, $60,000, really what you're dealing with is standard deductions and tax credits, right? So you qualify for tax credits regardless. Tax credits have nothing to do with what your income is or how much you owe or anything like that. And that's what people are getting.
Right.
That's what they're concerned with. They're getting, is this going to mess with my tax credits?
Yeah.
No, it's a credit.
That's correct.
Right? So it doesn't.
So the
Then
amount
I
that they
mean-
get in their refund should remain the same unless they had a really high income, which would
You might
possibly
see-
bump them down into another tax bracket.
Right. Which could cause some different things to happen. We haven't seen a swing of more than $98. And the third-party administrator hasn't seen a swing of more than $98 inside of 5 years.
Okay.
So
So it's a pretty
it's-
moot issue for the most part. Okay.
Yeah. So, and you get extra benefits on
I mean, that's what I've been saying, but you just want to make sure that I'm telling people the right thing and not lying.
Yeah, yeah.
That's important.
The big deal is, the biggest change that they'll see is that qualification for TC. The other question that you'll get sometimes is about Social Security. So people need to understand how Social Security is actually figured. And people have in their mind, if you ever talk to somebody that's older, they say, well, I put into this all my life, right? Well, you didn't have to. All you have to do is 40 quarters, right? So it's your highest earning 40 quarters is what sets your Social Security.
That's true.
Period. So it's one of those, like, you didn't have to contribute forever. You just have to contribute for this amount of time. And whatever the highest amount of that time is, that's what's going to set your Social Security. So by the time we see somebody that's older, their Social Security is pretty well already
Sort of set, yeah.
But to avoid the argument, if you're within 5 years of retirement, don't participate in it.
I mean, I guess there are some cases where people at that age are making more money than they were 20 years previous, but for the most part, that's not the case.
Yeah, most of the time, in that scenario, you're talking about somebody that is either a federal government worker or a retired military, somebody that's seeing a legitimate, 3 to 5% increase in pay over the last 5 years. Yeah, you don't want to mess with that person.
It's not going to help them.
It's not gonna, I mean, it'll help them, but you don't want to affect their Social Security, because that would affect their Social Security. So we don't mess with that. And we just haven't declined.
But that's so rare. I mean, that's just,
Yeah.
just something to keep in mind as well.
The thing that you see more often is people who you would think would be within 5 years of retirement that may or may not be, right? Who maybe used to make more money and are working a second job now, or,
What about if they've been with the same company for 10 years, and they are fixed to retire within 2 or 3 years? You would still enroll them because that's already locked in?
if they're not going to get a pay raise. I mean,
Oh, I
Like a
see.
change.
Yeah, we had that gal the other
Okay.
day. Remember, she was about to retire because she ended up declining.
yeah, I mean,
But, that was the only person we had to opt out, was that gal that was about to retire in 2 years. She's like, well, who cares?
yeah, you just leave it up to them. I mean, if you don't feel, if you're dealing with somebody that makes, $28,000 a year and is within 2 years of retirement, they're not going to get a raise substantial enough to make a difference. And, and they might have to work till they're 70 anyway. It's not, and that's not a judgment. I mean, the thing is, how many people are in that scenario? I mean, most people these days are retiring and going back to work the next day.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, it just kind of is what it is. But, yeah, unfortunately. So, conceptually, this is how I like to talk about the program. I'm going to run through it one more time, because I'm going to take 2 volunteers who feel brave enough to give me this poker chip presentation. All right,
You
so
have 5 in each group, or how many?
I do. I think I got 4 in each group, except this one has. And I don't really go through the numbers on it because it doesn't really matter. It's the concept that we want to come across. So if I'm talking to Mark, and Mark's a business owner. Mark, great to meet you. Appreciate you taking the time. I wanted to show you my simple presentation, how this works. There's all sorts of wonderful technical tax stuff. I could show you how smart I am, but instead of doing that, I'm going to pretend like I grew up in Texas, which is true. And I'm going to show you this presentation. So let's imagine this is one of your employees' pay. This is their paycheck, the gross take home, right? Well, out of this, they're going to pay taxes, right? We all got to, you don't escape death and taxes, right? So they're going to pay taxes, and of this total amount, this is the amount they pay in taxes. So this is what they're left with, is these white chips, right? They pay taxes, and guess what the government wants from you? Is they want you to pay taxes as well, right? So they pay taxes, you pay taxes. Does that sound like what you're doing right now?
Sounds exactly like that.
Well, let me tell you what we do differently. Okay? So we come in and we put in what's called a cafeteria plan. Have you ever heard of one of those?
Yes, I
At a
have.
bigger company?
Right.
So we put in a cafeteria plan. And what that does is it allows us to remove a portion of their income from taxation. The income's still there. We're just going to tax them on a different amount of money, a lower amount of money. Right? We qualify this exclusion based on premiums and based on medical expenses. Okay? So what's going to happen is now we're only taxing this portion as opposed to this whole portion. Okay? So they're going to send up less money in taxes. They still got to pay taxes because we can't escape that. But now, because they pay less in taxes, you're going to pay less in taxes. You like that?
I love that.
That's a good thing, right? So now we have this amount of money that we have to deal with because the IRS, obviously, the government doesn't want you, making money out of these deals. So with what's left over, we take that and we purchase products to qualify this exclusion. Right? Now, the employee is whole again, and they still pay taxes. They got new benefits. You pay taxes, and you have this savings. Now, nothing worth having in life is free, right? So we just asked you to take a portion of this savings, and we're going to have you pay that for the program. We keep a portion, you keep a portion. That sound fair?
Sounds great.
That's how the program works. So all we need is a census, and we will get started. So ask for a census. All right. So who's feeling brave? Because I will pick volunteers. All right. This is like church. Anybody want to?
Okay, yeah, I'll
All right.
Yeah, I'll go for it.
All right. Pay, net pay, taxes, employer money. Okay.
Yeah, Toby, just set back like that. You're good. I just want to be able to see the.
Some marks and
Okay.
125.
Okay. How did you open again?
Shook his hand.
Well, yeah, but what's the best way to start off the explanation here?
Just
This is an employee's
this employee's
gross pay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gross pay.
All right, so this is an employee's gross pay. And when we implement this program, it's called the cafeteria plan. Have you heard one of those before?
Yes, I have.
Okay. So what we're going to do is, under Section 125, it allows us to pre-qualify some of these tax dollars, or some of this income, and we can use it for benefits. Is that what that is? No.
Back, yeah.
Yeah.
Start with what he's doing right now.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So this portion is what the employees pay in taxes, and this is the portion that you pay in taxes. You mentioned. Okay. Right. Sound like what you're doing right now?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Okay. So under this plan, it's going to allow us to pre-qualify that. You said
Exclude.
okay. It's going to allow us to exclude a portion of their gross income. And that's going to bring down the amount of taxable income they have. And so that's going to reduce the amount of taxes that they pay. That's all right. And so this is the portion that they'll have to pay in taxes now. And of course, then you still have to match that. And so then,
We put this back together.
Put it back together. Make their check whole, and with this portion, what's left over, we're going to spend that on employee benefits. And with this portion, this is the net. How did you describe that?
It's a saving. This is
net savings. Is that what okay. So this is the net savings. So all we ask is that you take a portion of that and pay to administer the program, and
the employee ends up with the same
amount.
amount.
Yeah, employee ends up with the same amount of money, and brings down your taxable income, and everybody's happy.
Great. All right. Let me ask for a census.
Yeah.
You do it one more time, and then I'll pick another volunteer.
Okay.
Volunteer.
Evil laugh.
I just want to make sure I get these terms down, because
All right, definitely speak up on this one so I get good audio.
All right, Mark. So I want to show you our program, and I've got a really complicated way of talking about this.
Okay.
But I'm gonna pretend I grew up in Texas. All right. So, which I did. So here's what I do. Okay, is what right now, and let's look at these. All of these white and red chips represent an employee's pay. Okay, and the white chips represent what they take home, and the red chips represent what they pay in taxes. Okay, so right now when we look at employees' gross pay, they got to pay taxes because nobody gets out of it. So this is the amount they pay in taxes, and when they pay taxes, because you're an employer, the government says you got to match. Right? Does that sound right?
That's exactly right.
Okay. This, after they pay taxes and you pay taxes, this is the amount they take home, or whatever that might be. Okay. So we're going to come in and we're going to implement what's called a cafeteria plan. Have you ever heard of one of those?
Yes, I have.
Okay. So a cafeteria plan allows us to take that same gross pay and allows us to exclude a portion of their income from taxation. Okay. So the portion that's excluded is excluded because of premiums and medical expenses. So with that, they still have to pay taxes. They're just paying a little bit less in taxes, and which means that you're paying a little less in taxes. That sound good?
Sounds great.
All right. Well, here's the other thing the IRS says, right? So now once we pick my hand up and we look at that check again, we got more money here, and the IRS doesn't like that. So what, again, we said we have to qualify that, what we did. So we take this money that was going towards taxes from the employee and we put it towards benefits. Right? Benefits like critical illness, accident, disability, things like this. Okay? And from your savings, nothing worth having in life is free. Right? So we're going to ask that you take a portion of your savings and help administrate the program, and that you keep a portion, right? So you have a true net savings to your bottom line. Uncle Sam gets paid. The employee has new benefits, and their paycheck stays the same. That sound pretty good?
Sounds great.
Okay. Great. Well, what I'm going to need from you is a census, right? So a little bit of information about your employees, some way to identify them. I need their W-4 filing status, which is, if they married and single, married with dependents, single with dependents, or just single. Okay? And then I will put together what this savings number for you looks like and how much they can get in new benefits.
Perfect.
Great. Thank you. I appreciate it.